welcome to episode 212 of the Xbox Call Gamers podcast. This week, I'm joined by Shane.
Hello, hello.
And Keo.
Hey, everyone.
How are you doing, guys?
Pretty good. Just got back from a Ren fair, so I'm all medievaled out.
God, I haven't been to a Ren fair in years.
I've never been to one.
It's great. It's a great time.
Yeah, the kiddo likes them, so.
Yeah, got to walk around and drink sarsaparilla and root beer and
mead, mostly.
Yeah, and giant turkey legs and watch a jousting competition and watch a guy in his 40s hit on my 18-year-old friend back in the day. As you do. He was in a night. He was in a full night outfit though, so he had that riz on.
Sure.
So it's in character, you could say.
Yes, yeah, very much so. He was doing the voice. He was doing everything. Offered her a flower. Did the whole thing. As always, we do the show live on Twitch. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. Come say hi, hang out, usual business. You know how it all works by now. We got a bit of a busy show this week. It's been a pretty heavy news week, or at least there's a lot going on, at least, even if it isn't super in depth. We do have a community question though from Red Ninja Dan, who says, "How would you guys design your perfect achievement list?" A bit of a loaded question, but I don't know. Do we have any thoughts around this? I mean,
I think it depends on what game we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm always tempted to just go down the route of, as much as I love achievements and achievement hunting, obviously, as this podcast will attest to, there is something very beautiful around the King Kong or Telltale idea of you just play through the game and you get all the achievements. And when the story's done, the achievements are done, and it's just an incentive for you to play the game. But I also feel like that's a cop-out answer and kind of doesn't really use achievements to their best ability. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I love me a game where I can just play it and not have to worry about missables or...
Sure.
Even if there are collectibles, I don't know, as long as they're not missable. I just want to play a game sometimes and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, I don't mind a little bit of cleanup at the end, though, right? But I want to be able to play the game and just enjoy the game, and then go back to stuff that's accessible and not broken or missing.
That's what I loved about Eternal Strands. It was perfect. You literally don't have to do a whole lot, and then when you get to get into the game, it shows, oh, here's all the collectibles you gotta go get, and go grab them quick, and then you're done. So
chapter select.
Very nice.
Yeah, well,
very nice.
Chapter select I'm less of a fan of. I mean, it's usually okay.
Well,
but,
yeah.
But I'd rather have it than
it's
not.
enough, though. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but I know what you mean, though. And I think the games that have that sort of accessibility, Eternal Strands is a great shout where they're like, yeah, we know you've done every quest in the game now. Here's a thing that shows you where all the collectibles are. You're like, perfect, great. I don't have to look up a guide. I don't have to check things off of a list. I can just kind
a glowing trail to each one.
if I want to use it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great. Really good implementation. I like that game quite a bit, actually. I have some issues with the story and the sort of repetitiveness of it, but I think overall, it was a really, really fun experiment. Yeah, Mad Lefty in the chat says, gotta have beat the game on the hardest difficulty with no deaths. Yeah, love those no death achievements.
Yeah, so great.
I love me some speed runs, just bashing my head against things and being like, oh, I did this too slow, might as well just restart my whole run. Now save scum. Exactly, that's the thing, is that I will always try and find a way around that kind of stuff. I don't feel like that's... If you want to put a no death mode in your game, don't put any fucking achievements behind it, In fact, I'm very much a fan of not locking achievements behind difficulty. I think that if you want people to get all your achievements and experience your game, they should just be able to experience it in the way they want to. Yeah. I don't know. It's
and it'd be really nice for it to be a complete list, and they don't randomly drop single achievements in title updates.
Yeah.
So
looking at you, Brotato.
Yeah.
You motherfucker.
Yep.
That game still gets achievements?
It just got one new one last week.
Oh, is it like a long time, or
no? It's not even a long one.
Oh, okay.
No one got notified by it as well because it came up as unknown pack, so it wasn't classified as fully released until 5 days later. Then it got a name, and then everyone got their notifications. So by that time, anybody that knew what was there was done with it. So
is that game still on Game Pass?
Yeah,
okay.
It is.
I might just go back and do that then. I have completely forgot about it. Yeah, that sucks. Chin Doctor's in the chat as well. Wonderful word challenge patron. Yeah, in terms of other achievement lists, like, yeah, I've been like, I'm playing a lot of like Souls-likes and Metroidvanias are obviously my kind of favorite genres, and I do enjoy when it's just like, cool, just get 100% of the game. I'm totally fine getting 100% of the game, but if it's like, yeah, exactly, like speed run, no death, highest difficulty stuff, I'm like, no, let me just explore the game and have a good time with it. Like I feel maybe a little embarrassed to admit this, but like part of the reason I haven't done Hollow Knight or Silksong is because of those types of achievements. Like I get the feeling that those kinds of games are the kinds of things that I would really, really enjoy. But the idea of like, okay, well, I'm going to have to play this 3 fucking times. I know these games aren't short. I'm going to have to do one regular playthrough to get 100%. I'm going to have to do one where I don't die and I save scum my way through it when I do. And I'm going to have to do one on the hardest difficulty where I do all the super hard challenges and stuff. And I'm just like, it really, like, I know I should just go, fuck it. I should just play it. It's a great game. But it is a real tough sell when you
That's
kind of.
how we roll here.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe it's like, maybe I play it on alternate tag or something. And like, I've done difficult games before. And I have talked multiple times on the show about how like difficulty isn't something that I really look for in games anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lefty says I could combine playthroughs 1 and 3. That's true. I definitely could. I think the idea though is that like, well, I mean, yeah, fuck it, I probably would do that. Yeah. But like I'm thinking of games where I have games I really enjoyed that I have like maybe 1 or 2 achievements left in that I haven't finished, and like Limbo was that for a long time because of that limited death achievement. What else is there? Dead Space 2 is that like hard to the core achievement for only getting 3 saves.
That was fun.
It's a tough one, right? And like, I think about going back to it every now and then, but I'm like, that game I probably would have had a slightly even better opinion of that game if that achievement just didn't exist. If they just were like, yeah, you can play on hardcore if you want, but you don't need to there's no achievement for it. Like, you've already beaten the highest difficulty. There's no point in us putting you in fucking Nuzlocke mode or whatever the fuck, like. Yeah, I don't know. But
yeah, I think if you've built your game where people want to play it on an alternate tag and not be proud that it's on their list, because there's definitely games where you're proud that you've got it on your list, right?
Sure. Yeah,
but
definitely.
If you're choosing to play it on an alternative tag because you don't want it on your main tag, because you don't want to know if you finish it or not, then you're probably building it a little wrong.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would agree. And like that's going to be different for every person. Like some people are like, yes, I really want the challenge. Exactly. I really want the prestige of doing something like that. But if you're thinking about it from an achievement perspective, and you like go on TIA and look at people going, no, this achievement looks like it kind of makes the game not fun. Is one actually this week. I was looking at Replaced because that finally came out, and there's an achievement for beating on the highest difficulty. And I was about to start it, and I was like, let me do a little bit of reading on what this highest difficulty actually means, because like, is this going to like a lot of people in there were like, it kind of makes it like a slog, and I'm like, okay, like I don't have to play on the highest difficulty, but if I want to get all the achievements, I'm going to. And I'm like, will that affect my enjoyment of the game? Should it affect the enjoyment of the game is maybe a different question, but I think the reality is it probably will for me. And so
I think there is an element of knowing how like true achievements people work sometimes.
Sure.
And a slog for them is not necessarily a slog. It's just kind of whinging.
Yeah, but, absolutely, sure. You got to take everything with a grain of salt and that sort of stuff. But I guess like so we only have the one achievement community, so what are we going to do? But I'm totally with you. I think if I'm thinking of like good examples, the Star Wars, like Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, like I think those were pretty good ones in terms of like having some interesting combat stuff, having a lot of collectible stuff, having some story stuff, so a little bit of mini game stuff, like a good variety of like play a bunch of this game. Don't necessarily do literally everything, but like, yeah, but also like you can play it on easy if you want to play it on easy and just kind of have a chill time with it.
Yeah. And if you've got some mechanics that are cool that you don't want people to miss, right? Then
yeah,
chuck an achievement behind it, make it fun to find. So, yeah.
Yeah, and like I've never been a huge fan of the do this 100 times. It's like, okay, whatever. Like that's a fine achievement if you want to be like, oh, do 50 executions. Feels a bit lazy. I much prefer the more like maybe some of the funnier stuff or just some of the like quirky stuff or more, leading people to Easter eggs and things like that.
Yeah, the silly ones are always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way, I'm disappointed that Call of Duty don't do some of the Easter egg ones anymore. So, like, I want to go back. It's difficult. It's annoying, but yeah.
Actually, yeah. If I'm thinking about like
a little bit more motivated.
The quintessential achievement list that pops to my mind that's near perfect, I think, is probably Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, where it's like no multiplayer achievements, no missables. Each mission had like a little like fun objective thing to do in it to get an achievement. Whether that was like, melee 5 enemies in a row, or only use the pistol for this bit, or don't die on this bit. Again, some of that was a little bit annoying, but not too bad. And then the only real difficult part was like Mile High Club at the end, where it was like, cool, do this big difficult run. And that was difficult, but not impossible.
Now shows how good you really are.
Exactly. I was like, cool, okay, that was the right level. But I could totally see people who were like, yeah, this is actually probably beyond what I can do in this game. It took me a long time to get those achievements as a kid.
Get good, noob. It's fine. It took me 40 minutes without a video guide. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that, that was that era when every 360 game had a tacked-on multiplayer mode, and most of them put terrible achievements in them.
Yeah, I was always shocked that of all the series, I don't think all the Call of Duty games, they don't have like prestige 3 times or anything like that ever.
Right? World at War had couple of prestige achievements in it.
I mean, like, the ones that matter, I meant. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, like the good
4.
ones, the Infinity Ward ones. Yeah, they tend to be pretty light on the multiplayer stuff. And even these days, like most of their multiplayer stuff is pretty, like they obviously have a few multiplayer achievements, but they don't go full whole hog like they used to with like Graw and things like that, where it was like cool.
Yeah.
Play.
Be the best in the world.
Yeah. Exactly.
The problem with Call of Duty World at War though is that like it's the hackers unlocking the achievement straight away for everyone.
That's true. There is still an issue. Like, yeah, like to be fair, like that was always the big one.
There's so many people that would go back and play that game if they didn't be like, oh well, it's gonna,
I still haven't installed. I play it every now. I play it every now and then, working on my prestige stuff because I think I got to like 4th prestige, just like grinding stuff. I still got like one of the fucking zombie achievements I need to go back and get, but yeah, like my ideal achievement list is something that doesn't, maybe makes me go out of my way a little bit to do like more of the game and experience more of it, and maybe use a few different mechanics in different ways, but doesn't cause me to want to pull my hair out or detract from the game or make me stay on the game overly long. Because I think that was definitely a thing in the early days of achievements where it was like, okay, the game is done now also, but we want you to keep playing this game and not trade it in or So here's an achievement that's actually 4 times the length of the game itself. Here's your COC 3.0, for example, which adds nothing to the game.
No.
Or Armored Core for Answer, or Fear 2, or...
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you want word of mouth, right, have as many people play the game as possible, right? We've seen that with Game Pass and whatever, so, So,
yeah, I think
secondhand games aren't necessarily bad for that thing, but, yeah.
Most achievement lists are pretty good these days. I think they've kind of standardized it over the years, and, again, we still get a few odd ones out there that are a bit strange or a bit broken, but barring, like, technical issues, I think that the philosophy behind them has kind of stabilized quite a bit.
And barring all the baby games. But
yes, obviously there is that aspect.
Beat level 1, beat level 2, beat level 3.
Yeah, exactly. Mad Lefty says the first Borderland game had a really good base list. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was good.
Good call.
Yeah, really good one. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the news. This week we had the Stranger Than Heaven presentation, which is was showing off the new RGG game. Sort of, Yakuza style spin-off. It's coming out this winter. It's coming to Game Pass. Looks really, really good. Set over 5 different time periods. I mean, again, they kind of showed off. It looks fantastic. Like, if you haven't seen this thing, like, I have a sort of, and always have an interest in RGG games, but they usually are a bit too much of like, well, cool, that's a cool story, but also here, play Mahjong for 20 hours.
Yep, sure is.
For me to go, okay, you know what, I'm probably good. But it's it's even a little more, again, like I know that they've kind of split this between this like a Dragon stuff where it's turned into the turn-based RPG mechanic, and then they do the kind of Gaiden games or like Pirate Yakuza stuff where it's like the spin-offs go back to the more traditional stuff. This is even a slightly different thing where it's like you use like the bumpers to like use your like arms and do combinations, so you kind of like almost like a fighting game in terms of like building combos and stuff. And so
Which is funny because they're also doing Virtua Fighter or whatever. So
yeah, exactly. Like, and obviously that runs on the same tech and that sort of stuff. So this looks really, really interesting. There's also a lot of like environmental stuff where it's like you grab something with one hand and then like punch someone with another and then throw with it. It looks like very dynamic. I'm hoping it works really, really well.
Grab people and slam them together, or
Yeah. Also, Snoop Dogg's in it.
Funny enough, sure is, and so they know. Okay.
Great. Sure. Whatever. I mean, all right. Yeah. So like, I think this looks really, really cool. Are we interested? Are we? Well, first of all, did you guys have a chance to watch the presentation?
First off, I missed this even happened. Like all of a sudden, I just started seeing YouTube videos that a presentation had happened. I'm like, I didn't hear this was even going on.
Yeah.
But I just, funny enough, right before you messaged me to be on, I watched it. I just happened to watch it finally. So yeah, it looks awesome. I didn't. Have they explained how the time periods work? Are we playing as one guy throughout?
Yeah, it's like
60 years or whatever.
50 years or so. Yeah, like, I think you're playing as like there's a pair of them, but I don't know if you play as like one for the entire time. But I think the idea is like keeping the perspective across the 5 decades, which I think is a great idea. I think we talked about this when they kind of showed it off at I think back in like February or March when they kind of talked about that they were going to do more with this at their like developer showcase. And the idea being is that like you can actually save quite a bit of money on assets and stuff if you build one zone and then do a variation of that four more times, as opposed to building 5 different zones. I think it's quite smart, like really good use of resources. Yeah, I'm super keen to. I mean, again, it will depend on the achievement list, but I am. I love the idea. It sounds like really really cool.
Just watching it, I was like, this would be really interesting narratively because that's a lot of change in Japan during that time frame. So
yeah,
that'll be very interesting. Just for not even the characters, just watching the time periods happen and learning how everyone's doing, and I'm sold.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I need to look at that presentation, but I think I'm getting more and more interested in it. I think. So, yeah. Because I miss kind of like the sleeping dogs kind of stuff and this and that. And
yeah. It was like a 30-minute presentation too. Like they went into quite a bit. Yeah, they got a lot
I'll have a look
at
at that
too.
Yeah.
I don't know if did they give an exact release date? They said winter, which I guess is like end of the year. So I guess we'll see what happens there. But yeah, coming to Game Pass also is a great get. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Take-Two boss Strauss Zelnick is deeply disappointed over the wait for a new Bioshock, and he says, "In retrospect, we wasted a lot of time and money," which is always exactly what you want to hear from your CEO of a big company, Take-Two. I don't think there's too much to say here. We've talked a little bit about Bioshock, the whole cloud chamber thing, getting laid off, them having to get a new director, sort of almost starting from scratch. I wanted to use this sort of story to ask the question, like, do we think a Bioshock would do well today? If a new one if they were like, hey, guess what? New Bioshock end of the year. Would people be excited? Would it sell well? Is this the right time? Is it is there a place for a game like Bioshock in today's kind of like video game landscape?
I think if it hit critically, it would. I mean, Bioshock Infinite kind of also was in that weird period where, I mean, Bioshock 1, obviously, everyone loved. Sure. Bioshock 2, people were a little cool on. And then Infinite came out of kind of nowhere and sold amazingly, if I'm not mistaken.
It did well, for sure. Yeah, I mean, critically less, I think critically less well than the original.
Like, we're talking Square Enix standards. If Square Enix had sold the game, did they think it sold well?
Oh no, none of them. No,
okay.
They scrapped the studio the whole time.
Well, heck.
I mean, yeah. To be fair, just for context's sake, I mean, Bioshock 1 was created by Ken Levine's team, and then Bioshock 2 was done by 2K Marin, so it was a different team. And then Infinite was back to Ken Levine's team before he moved off to create his own thing, which might come out before. Like again, he's been working on that for just as long with Judas that he showed off a little while.
Yeah,
it looks a very Bioshock style game. But yeah, I guess like, is there a question maybe if it hits critically, that obviously has an impact. But I don't know, like Keo, like, well, first of all, do you guys have any experience with the Bioshock series? How many of them have you played? Like
all of them.
Yeah, me
Great
too.
stuff.
Keo, what about you?
Yeah, not 100%. I haven't done the DLCs for 2 or Infinite. Yeah, 2 and Infinite. Yeah. For either of those, but like, I think with the game, it's just like Ken Levine is kind of it with Bioshock, right? So Judas is kind of it.
It's the spiritual successor for sure. Yeah.
It can't say that you can, but I mean, like, unless it's like an ode to Bioshock, it's not going to be Ken Levine. So, I mean, yes, it has a place, and yes, they could, if they hit hard, they could really, really hit hard with it because it's a big name. But the name itself, that's where it doesn't
carry it.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's where it doesn't have a place. So maybe they do just need to do like the movie or something, you know. So just have something different. Bring it back first, and then revisit somehow, you know. So.
Yeah, I guess that was my question. Like, yeah, does it still have, I hate this term, but like brand equity in 2026? You know, like, and especially with a game that we haven't seen anything about, we haven't seen release dates for. Like, we know basically nothing about it. I mean, we know it exists. We know it's gone through a bunch of changes and all that sort of stuff, but it hasn't shown up at the Game Awards or at the Summer Games Fest on a big screen being like, come in this summer, like, check this shit out. I don't know, like, yeah. And it's been, what, they've been working on it for, what, like 7 years at this point? Yeah. I mean, obviously, pandemic years are obviously a bit of a time flux for all game development, but...
Yeah. Given the nature of the storyline for where it kind of ends up with the Bioshock series, they should just be really meta about it, and then just make the game of the different changes throughout the time and kind of mash it all together. And be like, this is the metaverse, guys.
It's the man in the lighthouse, and here's all the different versions of Bioshock that we scrapped. Yeah, I can see that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can definitely see that, actually. I guess my question was like, is this a big draw? I mean, obviously, I hear Bioshock and I get a little bit excited because I'm like, Bioshock was a game when it came out that I literally dreamed about. You know, like it was one of those things where it's like I played it on the 360, I downloaded the demo for it, like I played through the demo, and it gets that really great opening, and like I rushed out to buy it as soon as it came out and just absolutely loved it. But yeah, I don't know if everyone has that same love. I mean, it's been nearly 20 years since that original game came out. People have been born, have started playing video games. Like people, are now, potentially 20 years old since that game came out, who have never even played any of the games or even heard of the series.
I would hate to be in marketing nowadays. I feel like it's so hard to just... It was always a little bit of a challenge to figure out what's really going to hit, but I feel like having your finger on the pulse was easier 30 years ago compared to nowadays, where this game, Bioshock 4, could come out and be everything all Bioshock fans wanted, but some other game will hit at the same time, and that's what TikTok is talking about, and there's memes, and that's what's exploding, and suddenly there's a Netflix show of whatever the other game is, and on and on. Like, it's, man, I feel like it'd be so tough because Bioshock 4, I don't know if it would sell gangbusters or hit like it would have if it had come out closer to Infinite, but it'll still with us it'll be okay, and Steam will love it, and I don't know if that's successful anymore though.
Well, I mean, looking at what Bioshock is like, Bioshock is like the underwater was the first, so it was like an elements thing, right? And you had the Infinite, which was like the sky and all that kind of stuff. So, so they have to do something with that. That would be interesting. That would be different. And like, how many different things can they do with the element stuff? they've got to stay within their realm, right? So what would even a Bioshock game look like if they keep changing their idea? Is it even going to be what it's supposed to be? So,
yeah, it. Well, and it's so funny because like obviously Bioshock is not an original idea either, right? Because System Shock was the first thing that really came from, and then they were like, let's do Bioshock, let's do System Shock underwater, and then it was like, let's do Bioshock in the sky, and then is it just let's do Bioshock in space again? Like, I mean, that's kind of
Kirby
what
is. Yeah, Kirby in the chat is exactly where I would have went with it. Lava,
lava
all the way. Yep.
Lava
puzzles, lava suits, lava, love. So yeah.
Live,
I
laugh,
don't know.
lava.
I think with the whole time we've waited, I bet they'd just go back to Rapture or underwater or something.
Yeah, I feel like if you want to lean on that brand thing, yeah. Well, I was looking at I was just like looking at the numbers and thinking about like how much they've sold across the series, and you're right. Like Bioshock Infinite was obviously a huge smash success in terms of like critically definitely reviewed lower than the original Bioshock did, but also just got a lot of eyes on because people were super excited, and it got really good marketing, and obviously 2K was big behind it. So I was like looking at the. So Bioshock 1 did about 4 million units, Bioshock 2 did about 3 million, and then Infinite did 11 million.
Bit of a difference.
Yeah, big fucking difference, right? And so, and obviously that's when these games come out. Obviously time has changed and they've done remasters and ports and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just wondering if it really has the, like do they need to do a brand activation before this happens? Is making a video game enough? Does this need to be part of, we're making a movie, we're doing a TV series, we're doing something else as well at the same time, and here's the game.
Maybe even first. Like wait until something comes out.
Yeah.
All of a sudden everyone's playing Bioshock 1 on Steam again, and like, now's the time. Let's announce it at the Game Awards or something.
Yeah, do you do a full
There'll be two main characters, Shark Girl and Lava Boy.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yes, okay, yeah.
No.
I see where this is going. Yep. Oh man, that movie was rough. Yeah, Cameron says I'm using too many marketing terms for a Sunday. It's true. I'm always thinking about work. But I definitely think that there is, I will be on board, and I think it would probably review very, very well. But I think to your point, Kier, if Ken Levine's not at the helm, does it still do well? I don't know. But let's move on. Assassin's Creed is going to be. I've been seeing a lot of the story. I think it was from IGN or whatever it was. Assassin's Creed is set to feature in a unexpected location, and people were just replying with really random cities. Like a lot of them were like Auckland, New Zealand, or it was like someone did one about Hawaii. Someone did one about Reykjavik, Iceland. But apparently they're going to do some sort of stage show.
Which is so weird.
It is such a strange idea. It's starting in Montreal and Paris. No big surprise. The Frenchies love that stuff. It's going to be like circus style, acrobats, dancers. Apparently it's going to have like an original story.
Parkour.
So, yeah, exactly. It is. Yeah, basically, yes. Blending acrobatics, urban parkour, choreographed combat, and physical feats within a large-scale, immersive visual environments, transporting audiences through time.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Organizers say that no prior knowledge of Assassin's Creed series is required, but claims that fans will spot plenty of references and entries to the series. I mean, okay. Sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I hope it is great.
Well, Kirby's come up with the title for this episode, Cirque du Assassin. That's. I mean, I think we've seen stage plays, we've seen adaptations. I mean, like Nier Automata got a stage play adaptation. Like this is not super unusual. It is maybe a little bit more in the West, but Lefty says because the movie did so well. I guess that's the other bit too. Is that like Assassin's Creed has tried to turn itself into this multimedia thing for Ubisoft because it is their biggest franchise, basically, right? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think every time they go back to something new, it gets simplified, and they try to do something different with it. Like, I actually didn't mind the movie that much. as I think the thing that was interesting about that was how they tried to justify how somebody was moving in the Animus by having like a moving machine thing.
Yeah.
Did they really need to though?
No, they did not, but they were like,
it's in your brain,
Yeah.
guys. It's okay.
But they're like, no, but audiences won't understand, Shane.
Yeah.
I mean, and to be fair, hey, just, quick plug, if you're part of the Patreon, we have a Lights, Camera, and Action about that movie, and we ranked it, so go check that out. It was an interesting one, for sure. It's funny to me, like, I think that I can see from a circus angle and from like an acrobatics angle what like an interesting kind of, Assassin's Creed inspired demonstration would be. I remember when I went to Universal a couple of years ago, they have the like Jason Bourne experience thing where it's like which is like really cool, like moving stuff on the like trapdoors and kind of like treadmills and like screens and stuff to like make it look like you're moving through an environment. And it was really, really cool, like a really like interesting idea. Storytelling wise, it was just kind of guff, but whatever, it doesn't matter because it's fucking Jason Bourne. And I'm wondering, I was like, I would maybe watch something in terms of like to see what kind of effects they would do, what kind of like parkour and stuff, and also like, the sort of acrobatic angle of it. But trying to tell an Assassin's Creed style story in a stage play seems like the story of those games have gotten, in terms of like the real life story, obviously the in Animus stuff is whatever it is, right? But the outside the Animus stuff, which I feel like is what the focus would have to be, I guess. I don't know, maybe, but like it just those stories have gotten so simplified because they got so convoluted with the Desmond stuff, and then they were like, oh shit, we need to we killed off the main character, we need to do something about this. What are we gonna do? And then they're just like, the real life stuff doesn't actually matter. You play as what was it, Lydia or whatever, Layla, I can't remember, for like 5 seconds in these games doing like a little parkour thing, and then you're back into the Animus.
Yeah, well, the Black Flag remake is going to retcon Desmond, right? So that's the whole.
Well, they're going to do something. They haven't said quite what it was going to be, right?
They said just outright removing the modern day stuff.
Well, I think they're doing some sort of like.
Which is a shame. I like that stuff, but all right.
Yeah, you don't get to walk around the totally not Ubisoft offices and hack into people's computers like some sort of cyber freak. Kirby says maybe they should just make a game with all the people of all races and religions and cultural harmony. They put that message at the front of the game. They just have to say that at the start of the play, and it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then just someone comes out in blackface because it's the French, and they just
oh no. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Je suis racism. Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting idea. I want to see what the reviews are for this, and I want to like get the lowdown on. Again, like I don't really care about the Assassin's Creed meta story anymore. I did when I was going through like 1 through 3, and the whole Desmond thing was super interesting, and then they just kind of shat the bed at the end of that.
Yeah, they kill him in 3. Spoiler alert, and then
spoiler, exactly. And then they're like, oh fuck, we need to make more games. You play an employee at Ubisoft, but also hey pirates. And I'm like, well, the pirate stuff is good. Like the pirate stuff is really good, and I'm really interested to see what Resync looks like. But yeah, these two are pretty. I'll do these two at the same time. But there's been some surveys going out recently, and one of the surveys here from a Generations in Play, which is an IGN Entertainment thing that they do with Kantar and UC Berkeley, been polling highly committed consumers in the US, UK, and Australia. And so there's some just interesting figures here. According to the report, 38% of millennials, so us, and 42% of Gen Z still buy full-price games, but only 20% of Gen X people said they would. So, I mean, doing the quick math there, 62% of people who are the most engaged, so like us, the sort of hardcore demographic, aren't buying games at full price. Okay. Chris Dring from the game business sort of talked about like the idea like this is kind of reflecting with a market where people have too many games, they don't have enough money, they don't have enough time, and we no longer live in the monoculture. I want to talk about monoculture when we get to what we've been playing because that is related there as well. But I don't know. I mean, I just feel like it's interesting to see how much has changed. I mean, when was the last time you guys were like, day one, got to have this? I mean, like, I suppose, like, do you guys pre-order anymore? Like, I remember that was a big thing during retail, but like, and it was a big fight around like, don't fucking pre-order. Like,
well, the last day one game I think I bought was the Call of Duty before it was added to Game Pass. And the next one is probably going to be the Call of Duty that they don't put on Game Pass.
Sure.
So, but hey.
I think the last time I pre-ordered a game was, or even day one to game. I think I did Dead Rising Remastered or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Deluxe Remaster. Yeah, I day one that. But I didn't pre-order it. I just got home, bought it, installed it, and played it.
Yeah,
true.
And I think that there's maybe a slightly different case in terms of that's a remake of an old game that you're very familiar with and you kind of know the score of, and again, like, sure, it could come out and be technically broken and all that kind of stuff and shit, but like, you understand that like the original game was fucking fantastic. Chin Doctor
Before that was probably
Kirby and
Fallout
chat
76 maybe.
Right. Kirby says, yeah, I don't look at most games until they're at least 30% off unless I really want it. Yeah, like, I think... I'm trying to think of like, it has to be a really special... Like, I used to be where I was like, cool. I'd buy most of the new releases when they were slightly more affordable. Games were slightly cheaper. They were coming out a bit more often. You still had more like AA development stuff that was like, cool, we can afford to buy these games. They're not like full price. 30% off is usually where I'm like, yeah, it needs to be at least 30% off before I consider buying most games. And I also think about like this podcast in particular. I feel guilty if I haven't played enough games for Game of the Year stuff. So that is probably a driving force for me to go, okay, I might not buy it day one, but I will buy it within the year because I want to be able to talk about it at the end of the year. But there's so rarely a game that I feel like I have to get. Yeah, I don't know. Like in terms of like your guys' buying behaviors, in terms of like when do you wait for sales? Is there anything that really drives you to buy a game day one? I don't know. There is something to be said for the zeitgeist of when a game comes out and everyone's excited about it and talking about it and being involved in that conversation. But now that the kind of, now that we sort of splintered off and the monoculture is kind of dead and we all kind of do our own things and we're all part of our own small communities like this one, maybe that's less of an issue. I don't know. Like, what are you guys' thoughts?
Hard to say, especially I'm listening to you guys say that 30% off on new games. Man, most of my price watches on TA are $10 or less.
Sure.
Like, I really need a reason to get a game. I don't know. That's just not the
those fit, which
not
is
the
totally
game
fair.
Gaming I'm doing usually.
Yeah.
It's if I'm playing anything new, it's on Game Pass. So
there is that too. Yeah,
true.
that's my primary way to play new games these days as well, for sure. Yeah, Kia, what do you think?
Yeah, look, like as I was saying, like with the Call of Duty stuff, right? So like, there are very few reasons for me to buy anything these days. So like, I'm not even playing like stuff that I like to play straight away, like the Resident Evil, the
Sure.
Requiem. I haven't even played that yet.
Ooh, or Pragmata. Pragmata looks great.
Yeah, great example.
So so it is really, really tough, but yeah, so I think the visibility in the retail market is just so lackluster for Xbox that it's barely something that we could even talk about these days, right? So, and we went for a period, like, for about a year or two where a couple of weeks after games came out, they were discounted highly anyway. Like, I don't, they do it less now, but I think there was some huge ones that were just getting discounted straight away. So it made it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, if you could wait a month, you could get 20% off a brand new game sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah, so... And by that point, I probably hadn't played the game if I bought it new anyway. So... yeah, so... But hey, I think their metrics
are weird.
Yeah. So I'm not going to get into the sociology side of things about their metrics being Gen Z and Gen X, but anyway, so...
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan. Those words don't come out of my mouth unless I'm saying something nasty. So.
But Yeah, I get what you mean.
Mm.
And I think the Game Pass aspect is definitely something that's sort of changed some behavior. And also, we've talked multiple times about how we have backlogs that will go on forever.
Yeah,
Game
we're
Pass
achievement hunters, so it's different.
Yeah, but I think we are we are that demographic of hardcore gamers who would typically buy and play the most games. Like average consumer buys maybe 5 games a year. And I was thinking about like the stuff that I buy. It's definitely gone down since I adopted Game Pass, and that's been the primary way that I play new stuff. But I still look for things that are on sale. I was just thinking, like, if I didn't have this podcast, like, I think, like Pragmata is a great example. Like, something that I really wanted to play, and I'm interested in playing, but I don't want to pay that much for something that I know is going to be 8 to 10 hour experience. And it's tough because I really want to support 8 to 10 hour experiences, because those are the kinds of games that I really, really enjoy. And like, I don't want everything to be a bloated 50-hour open world Ubisoft title. But shit's expensive.
Luckily, sales numbers look like you don't have to help.
Pragmata sold like 2 million copies, which for a new IP is pretty fantastic. Capcom are really doing really well. But every conversation I've had about that game is people going, "Yep, I put it on my wish list. I'm waiting for at least a 30% off sale before I even consider buying it, because it's a shorter game." Which I think is like fine. Like, obviously at a micro level, everyone should be doing that. Everyone should wait for the price point that makes sense to them. But at a macro level, the industry is really going to struggle if that's the attitude we take towards every single game, especially with games being more expensive to make. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like which, like, are there any high profile games that I bought like day one? Like what Metaphor ReFantazio a few years back. Like, that was a day one that I just bought. I was like, fuck it. No, I need to I know I'm going to enjoy this. I want to support them with this. I'm going to just buy it day one.
Oh. Yeah, speaking of supporting, Visions of Mana. I bought that day one.
Yeah, there you go.
Support that series coming out.
Yeah, great.
Like, I literally bought. I could have waited, and obviously it's on Game Pass now.
Took a long time.
I wanted to support them and be like, hey, I want more of those games, please. So,
well, that's the thing. Like, the stuff that I'd bought were like the Final Fantasy games to support that they were on Xbox now, even though they were already out, and I'd already bought them personally for PlayStation or whatever. So,
yeah. That I think that is slightly different, right? Because there is a voting with your wallet kind of thing, and also those are ports, so you're like, you kind of have at least have an idea.
Yeah.
But like, can you imagine just going into a game blind and just being like, oh, I'm just going to buy this day one. I don't know if it works. I don't know what the achievements are like. I don't know anything about the game. I'm going to drop $100 on it. Like I guess maybe like GTA 6 is maybe the other thing where it's like, is that the game where people just go, yep, that's going to bring us all back. We're buying that day one. I don't care. I don't care what the reviews are. I don't care any of that sort of stuff. I'm just happy that it exists.
And God, imagine the sales just in content creators alone for that game.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and the fact that also they'll double dip on PC when it comes out on that too.
It's be a cultural monolith.
Well, speaking of PC actually and consoles, there was another survey that came out recently from Circana, which looked at the future of video games consumer survey and looking at the motivations why people play on console. Obviously, we're right on the cusp of a new generation coming up, potentially. Who knows? Again, but they haven't actually committed to anything yet. But there was some interesting discussion around like why people choose to play on consoles. And the number 2 reason was that friends and family play on it. 38% of people picked that in the survey. Which I guess is that sort of peer pressure thing. There was a 37% perceived it as easy to play with friends, which I guess makes sense. Like if you have an Xbox and you don't have to have like a Capcom account if you're not doing crossplay or whatever. And 36% said more casual setting, which I can understand. Like, I have a console. I don't play on my PC because it's easier to play on a couch than it is to sit in front of a computer the whole time. But the number 1 reason was exclusives. Exclusives were the top reason people opted to play on consoles. And I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this. Like, obviously PC is the kind of the mixing pot of everything. It has access to everything, all kinds of specs, all kinds of games, all kinds of storefronts, whereas consoles are more closed down experiences. But I don't know. Like, do you have any thoughts around? Like, I think it was what to be fair, it is. I think it was what 41% of people respondents said that was their number one reason for playing on console. That's down 8 points, like 8 points from last time they did the survey. So that is changing. But as we've seen Microsoft talk about maybe going back to potentially doing exclusives, PlayStation going, we're pulling out of the PC stuff and we're trying to bring our single player stuff back onto PlayStation only. You know, like, is this a signal that like exclusives are actually still fairly important, and that this kind of like everyone plays everything kind of future is maybe slightly naive for the console business? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think that exclusives are always going to matter. You know, I mean, I personally don't care, so I was all for Spencer being like, yeah, of course, PlayStation can play all the Xbox games. Who cares? Whatever. Makes money. As long as you guys are keeping the Xbox ecosystem going, do what you need to. But I think by and large, and the reason Xbox is tiptoeing backwards is that most people do want those exclusives. Like, they are on Xbox for Halo. They're on PlayStation for God of War. They're on Nintendo for Animal Crossing and Mario. Like, yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, I don't think a lot of these PC, I mean, yeah, it's the same reason PC players would come to consoles. I mean, the only reason I would turn on a Switch is just to play Pokemon. Why would I play anything else on that thing? I don't want to. I'm good, you know. So even cross console, I'm sure that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So cross console is probably like one of like the biggest things that kind of counter that as well, right? So it's worked for the most part, and I think it's good, and we've been wanting it for years. The exclusivity, though, I don't think it's not what like Xbox needs now. Like, it for years, like the thing that I say, that I say is basically like, from a retail perspective, what I noticed was that Xbox is always a community-based platform.
Sure.
It was always the people talked to each other, the people did things together, all that kind of stuff. It was really very interesting. Every single time there was a new release for PlayStation, you try and greet the customer or whatever. They'd walk past, you pick the game up off the shelf and walk to the counter. Didn't want to buy it. Like that was basically every single experience with like the PlayStation gamer in that whole PS4, PS3 era. It was wild. That there was such a distinguished difference. And as soon as the Xbox One came up, and you know, we started to get all the stuff about like the really heavy like console war-y stuff that was like bringing both platforms down, basically. Yeah, this stuff with the Xbox One, with the DRM, and PlayStation's like, oh, you can, you know, hold a disc or whatever, and then that's basically what PlayStation are doing now, for example. So like, the exclusivity stuff will be good, and there are things that I think PlayStation can use, and I think I was saying this to somebody the other day, is if they can just take the things that they've trickled onto PlayStation and use that money and then make good exclusive games for Xbox, then that's perfect. Definitely put stuff on PlayStation still. I think it's good for both platforms to have some kind of to bridge the gap of an extent, but they need to use those things to make the platforms better. And I think Asha Sharma is going to do a really good job from her background. I've always said that since she started coming in, but yeah, the exclusive stuff is like second to the console stuff. You need the atmosphere, I think, the community, all that kind of stuff. I've always had that as a big point. So,
and I think it's a good point that just because Xbox have released games on the PlayStation doesn't mean every title needs to come across, right? Like,
exactly,
it's not an all or nothing thing, even though they've kind of pitched it as that, and that's kind of been the prevailing theory, is that everything comes to PlayStation eventually.
Yes.
And maybe it is still everything comes to PlayStation eventually, but maybe it's more of a pick and choose kind of thing.
Yeah.
We also talked a little bit about how part of the reason Xbox might be kind of cooling on this strategy is that they had the big initial launch, with things like Sea of Thieves and Forza Horizon 5, and obviously those have done very, very well. But if they start to see those trailing off, and they realize like it's not really worth, they lose the brand equity, they lose hardware sales, and the games cost. They got to port the games, they got to put extra effort into making those games. If those things don't tend to sell as well, and they get diminishing returns from the putting those things on PlayStation, then they'll stop doing it.
It's like but what have they got left kind of situation. So, and all of their games on PlayStation have big communities. Those are the communities that probably jump ship to PlayStation from Xbox and now want to play the Xbox games as well, right?
Maybe
and then a new PlayStation game.
If Xbox has, Xbox has the biggest IP library to work with, and it's going to be, it's looking like a very old school Xbox year for Microsoft, right? Like you've got Gears of War E-Day, you got Fable, you got a Forza, you got a Halo, like what fucking year is this? Like have we gone back to 2003? Like I'm down for it, but like it. And to be fair, they haven't necessarily announced that all of those games are going to come to PlayStation yet. They have, again, like Fable's coming out on Xbox first, and maybe that's a strategy. Maybe it's timed exclusivity. Maybe that time could be a year. Maybe it's more than that. I guess it's a question of like, but also I think on the other thing is like going back to our previous story. If the hardcore people who are really invested in these games aren't buying these things day one, then does it matter if it's timed exclusivity? If you're like, well, I don't buy things day one anyway, so I'll just wait for it to come to PlayStation in a year. I think, we had similar discussions around was like Deathloop and some other bits and pieces, and also like Final Fantasy. We were like, oh yeah, like it's kind of sucks that Final Fantasy is going to be exclusive to PlayStation for a bit, but it'll come to, or like, Black Myth Wukong will come to Xbox at some stage. Like
a couple of weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, it was the conversation I think we were having was one platform's got the beta and the other platform gets the 1.0 later on, right?
They get the complete edition with the DLC,
the complete game. Yeah,
there is that aspect too. Like hopefully the timed exclusivity stuff isn't as long as something like Final Fantasy VII remake and Rebirth, but we are getting those, and like chances are the next like Final Fantasy Part 3, which there's a rumor that they're going to be showing that off at Summer Games Fest, is like that'll be day and date on Xbox same time as PlayStation almost certainly at this stage.
At this point. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, believe it when I see it, obviously, but I know Square Enix obviously has been reassessing their exclusivity deals with PlayStation.
Yeah. Well, they've lined everything up to be on both platforms because both will be released.
Exactly. So, because Rebirth comes out in June next month or whatever it is. Kirby says exclusive sucks for the consumer. There is that aspect too, obviously. Like as a consumer, you want to be able to play everything everywhere, and you should be able to just kind of not have to jump ship. But I think Shane is right in terms of like Nintendo are the masters of doing this. They don't lend their IP out to just about anybody.
Pretty much.
And the Switch 2 is the best selling console, like one of the fastest selling consoles of all time. Like they know what they're doing. They're like, we have strong IP and we fucking hold that thing on with an iron fist. And no one gets
they leverage it very well.
Yeah. People aren't buying Switch 2s to play Cyberpunk. They're playing Cyberpunk because it's on Switch 2.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think that like if you want to stay in the console business, you've got to have strong exclusives. I think that's kind of like, and especially like with what we're seeing with these results, like 41% of people are like, yeah, I want the exclusives are the reason I have a console. Now, what does that mean for like Project Helix being a hybrid console? We'll see. But yeah. But I recommend you go and check out. There's some good interviews there with Chris Dring and a few others on the Game Biz around what's happening in that space. Another big news story this week. A big surprise. Xbox have announced that they're scrapping Copilot, the AI companion for consoles. They're also winding down the mobile version of it or whatever it looks like. I might have to eat a bit of crow on this. We'll see. Again, I still want to be, but
we'll see.
We'll see. Again, I'm not gonna start clapping my hands too quickly. But Asher Sharma came out and basically said that that they want to address friction on the Xbox platform and that they're going to scrap Copilot on Xbox. Xbox needs to move faster, deepen our connection with our community, and address friction with both players and developers. So as part of the shift, you'll see us retire features that don't align with where we're heading. We're winding down Copilot on mobile, and we'll stop development of Copilot on console. I mean, that's kind of nuts. There was also a big leadership change at the same time, though. However, Sharma has brought in a bunch of people that she's worked with in the past. There's been like leadership shakeups. A few people from the core, I think it was like three people from the core AI team, someone from Instacart, and a few others. Are kind of like she's now kind of bringing in her team to kind of rebuild it out.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of people freaked out because more AI people, but it might just be people she is used to working with. You know?
Yeah, I think that's probably more likely the case.
Yeah, which means it's people she trusts, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't know. Like, I mean, I know I've never used Copilot for anything in my entire life, so I don't really have much to talk about here. But I know, Keo, you've used it a fair amount.
Yeah, I did a lot of tests to make lists and shit like that on for while I was doing Monster Hunter. I was testing it, usually making my spreadsheet lists through Copilot. It's like, add this monster's complete, build me a list of this without me having to do it. Because it's kind of like the best use case, right? Get the AI to make the list or something, and then you kind of refine it without having to write stuff, which is, one of the, I guess, good things you can do with AI that isn't doing the work for you, basically.
Sure.
So, because you still have to kill the monsters, right? It's not going to kill the monsters for you.
Not yet.
So, no, not yet. So, but that's where they were. Probably that's where they wanted to go.
They were
right?
talking about like a game assist and that's bits and pieces, right?
Yeah, yeah, and apparently the PS6 is going to use AI. So if they're reversing it and the PlayStation keep it, then it'll be a very different story down the track, which will make things interesting. But the ROG just has like a really good use for like that's where I was doing it. I was streaming my console to the ROG, and with the overlay, the Xbox button that just pops up like the Windows, the new version that they're doing, the that menu that they do just for the ROG. I can't remember what it's called. Whatever they're calling it for the PC now. Where I was able to just press the Xbox button, tab across to AI, and just go, this monster complete, and it was done. It was checked off. I didn't have to write it down. I didn't have to go to a separate list or anything. So I think, Microsoft they bought like a to-do list app from I was using a to-do list app before they bought it, and it became their to-do list. They can add checklists and shit that people can still do. People can make their checklists and stuff like that with this stuff, but they don't have to use the AI to do that. So there are utility things, because that they can do with this stuff. So I think one of the meetings that Satya Nadella had said that they want to bring people back to like not doom scrolling and actually doing a lot more work with the things that they're doing in their spare time, and that's what they want games to be again, like the thing that people are doing instead of doom scrolling. So it's just like, if you build more utility into that and give people proactive things that they could do to improve their gaming, that isn't just pulling up a pop-up menu that's got guides on it that people have, AI's made from the internet or whatever, then there are other things that they can do that isn't Copilot. But it's definitely had a good... I've been able to test it, and they could just do that better without Copilot. So I think...
Shane, any thoughts?
I've used Copilot's the only AI thing I've used at all, just because it's on Internet Explorer right there, and I just click the thing and mess with it. Likes it. Get rid of it. I don't understand. I can't believe it took them this long to figure out that no one wants this. It's such a waste of resources and effort for something that most people are either not going to use or complain about. I don't know. It will be interesting to see if she sticks to this. Okay, so they're not doing Copilot.
Right, this is what I was going to say. Yep.
They're not doing Copilot. I don't know. I'm still super skeptical on all this. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the TA thing, but apparently they might even be removing ads from the Xbox dashboard. Like,
Yes.
I'll believe a lot of this, but Microsoft's taking away ads. A corporation is taking away. This all seems so weird. Like, I don't know. I am dying to get to next year and see where we are with all this and how everything has developed, and if they're really sticking to this. It seems almost, I don't know. It seems almost unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm half of me is like, how much of this is a branding exercise? Because it feels like going on stage at Summer Games Fest, or the Xbox equivalent next month, and going, the new console has Copilot integrated into it, just feels like a non-starter. Copilot has had so much bad press. Like,
it'd be like Xbox One, TV.
Exactly right.
Like,
I think they're going to be very careful about saying the words AI. I think that there is a connotation within gamers that AI means slop, and we've talked on this podcast even about like how AI itself as a term is kind of disingenuous. So, like, there's a difference between like neural networks and machine learning and generative AI and all that kind of stuff. Like there's a level of nuance there that obviously the internet is not ready to discuss. But my prediction for like why this sort of console thing was going to be so big and why they brought on Asher Sharma in the first place was that they want this to be the AI set-top box, and they want to basically like sneak it into people's houses as it's a gaming system, it's a PC, but also it's like your like AI hub. It's a way of getting AI into the house without saying AI. Like, I mean, like it's like a Trojan horse or whatever. Like it's something along those lines. Like that was my prediction, and that's like why you bring in someone who's experienced with this, and why the messaging has been we're thinking about doing exclusives again. We're dropping the price of stuff. We want to make this more accessible. More people buy our fucking console. We are doing another console. It's going to be a PC. But like PC means AI at this point, like in so many ways, or at least it will, I think, is my thinking. Now maybe I'm being overly cynical. And maybe this is a sign that actually they're realizing that the AI bubble is kind of potentially going to pop, and they don't want to be caught in the full blast by going, we've so heavily leveraged Xbox into AI that when AI goes away or doesn't perform, the whole console just falls apart.
Yeah, Xbox is AI, or AI is the Xbox console,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Exactly. But we'll see. Again, like I might be completely wrong. It might just be that actually they're like, actually we've overinvested, and gaming is one of those divisions where people are really fickle, and that cramming AI into it was actually a big fucking mistake, and that we need to pull away from it.
And Microsoft is starting to learn that outsourcing all of their resources to other platforms is not good, and if they have more internal ones, that it'll be better. And I think Xbox is a good I guess, example of an internal platform, I think. So if they build that, they might be able to clamber back some of the Windows stuff, and like they're trying to build it into Windows, and they'll just make everything like that a little bit better. So,
I mean, imagine if she goes, okay, so one of the other things, like going back to what you mentioned before with the whole PlayStation's digs at Xbox back in the day, or this is how you share used games and stuff. Imagine she gets on stage, they actually are implementing some kind of ad-free dashboard. She can get up on stage and go, no AI, no ads, and then somehow also we can share digital games, and it comes full around.
Sure, exactly. Exactly. Like
that would be huge.
Yeah, no ads, new console. Open accessibility to other storefronts, so you don't have to buy on the Xbox. Best deal in gaming, like Game Pass support. Exactly. Like you can just go through a big fucking list and just go, yep, this is what we're doing.
Cheer after cheer. I mean, or again, I'm just talking about Xbox Series. Like just go, and now you can share your digital games. More than one person, like kind of Switch does that now.
Yes.
Like just copy it. And that would be huge to get on stage this summer and go, no ads, no AI, share your games, blah, blah. They really could knock it out of the park if they want to go full bore. They really are so far hitting the right notes. I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop, man. I'm just
yes, 100%. I think we've been
skeptical.
conditioned to be like, this is
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Too
It's
good to
like
be true.
Yeah, it's like we're bringing back everything you want, guys. It's like, how the fuck do you know what we want? You don't even know what you want.
I mean, but like,
So-
That's just it.
so it's like I said, it's a Halo, Forza, Gears, and what's it? Yeah,
You got
it. Why am I suddenly blanking?
You got it. You got it.
Fable.
Fable. Yeah, thank
It's
you.
all right.
Why not
We'll,
Fable?
we'll fill. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just gonna fill the chat, the podcast with noise until you got it. So
you just start checking out like Blinks the Time Sweeper and other amazing Xbox games. Yeah, like it does feel like a very intentional, maybe cynical return to like the original Xbox days of, you know, being the underdog and coming out with games that you can't get anywhere else, and you know, innovating in ways that the other platform holders don't have to because they're ahead. And to be fair, Xbox has been in that position a lot, but we'll see.
And this Xbox team, like Asha does seem like the person who maybe is on Twitter seeing people saying probably what we're saying, and is going to get up on stage and go, and all a big screen behind her, and it's like Fable, Halo, Gears, we're Xbox back. That could, I feel like this team is aware, or whoever's, you know,
you motherfucking millennials feeling old yet? Yeah.
Yeah. Like this does feel like the team that could go, hey, we're back and look at what we brought. And yeah, I mean, guess we'll see. Summer is coming real quick, so we'll be getting her first show, and we'll see what their messaging is going to be going forward, because Xbox needs an identity right now before we move forward anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they are lost.
Yeah, they're in a rough spot. I'll quickly go through the last few stories here. Rockstar should raise GTA 6's price for the good of the entire industry, says Bank of America. I'm just going to say, shut the fuck up, Bank of America. Banks shouldn't be speaking at all.
Says a bank.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm fine.
As a company that invested millions in the games industry when it was booming during the COVID boom, we'd love for you guys make some more money on this shit. I mean, look, there's been a lot of discussion around GTA and potentially, you know, like even like Strauss Zelnick has refused to announce a price for that game. They have not committed to what that game is going to cost. There are rumors it's going to be the first $100 game out there. You know, like, more than even the $70 price point that we've been kind of seeing as like the standard these days.
Yeah, it could very easily be the only $100 game out there, and it'd be fine. And then everything else just has to take a cut. Otherwise, they're not going to sell games, apparently.
I mean, Lefty and Chad is saying $100 standard edition. I'm calling it. Yeah, like, to be fair, like, that does sound insane, but GTA is, they could price it at 200. People will still buy it. Yeah, like, there is an aspect of that, whereas, like, this is the only game that really could have that audacity of doing something like that.
Yeah, and they'd get away with it. I mean, people would get mad, and then it would just be the top selling game, and, you know.
Yeah.
So.
$80 is the new $40 game because GTA.
I mean, we'll just move on after this. But like, are you guys is this the day one game for you guys? Are you guys excited for it? I mean, like we talk about Zeitgeist, like the closest thing that we'll have to a thing that everyone is going to buy and play is probably going to be this game, and this is probably the last one, right? Like in terms of, like, if you think about how long it took to get to this, it's fucking 13 years to get from GTA 5 to 6. Like, I'll be dead before the next one comes out. Like, you know,
if they're smart, this is modular, and they have this technology, they can just
absolutely. If they're smart,
make the next one.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, like, are we excited? Like, again, it is supposed to be coming out in November this year. I don't actually believe that it will, but if we assume that it is, are we buying this for Game of the Year, chat? Are we interested, or are we just like, nah, we'll wait?
Nah, I got all my Let's Players and journalists I follow all play it and tell me about it. So
fair. Yeah. What about you?
I mean, I didn't play 4 yet. So.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah. That's.
Oh really? Oh man. Well, I mean, I'm a sucker. I'll probably end up with this one pretty quickly. So
you'll see it on the shelves every day, and you'll be like, fuck, I gotta pick that up.
It'll be the one retail disc game day one thing that I end up looking at and going like, okay, all right. So
yeah, that's fair.
It'll be right there next to Call of Duty same week, right? So
pretty much, yeah. That's looking like what it'll be like. Which big yikes for Call of Duty, but hey. It's funny actually what you were saying there, Shane, because Tim Kaine, one of the original Fallout developers, had a bit of a take the other day that says that he's feeling like too many people are being told by influencers what to think rather than forming their own opinions. And the idea being that like people just watch like a let's play of something, or they just watch a review and just go, cool, that's my opinion. I'm actually not going to play this game. I'm just going to parrot this opinion that I've heard from someone that I trust. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, that makes me feel things. I'm gonna see what someone says about this.
Yeah, exactly. So ChatGPT, what do I think about this?
Yeah,
as the resident actual streamer here,
yes.
So actual streamer, not piecemeal thing like me. Mm-hmm. So.
Now this does come off a little bit as old man yells at clouds.
A little bit, right?
Like, yeah. I get that influencers are called that for a reason, but he has to remember that the loudest ones are yelling. Most people aren't doing that.
So, and we have to remember that influencers call themselves influencers when they're not actually influencers. So,
yeah, it's kind of a fucked up term in general, but but I also, I think this like old man yells at cloud kind of thing is also true because like this has been true forever, you know? Like how often has someone read a book and just parroted the opinions in there and not thought about it, you know? Like yeah, sure, maybe it's worse now than it ever has been just because of the access and because people have like, you know, the parasocial relationship stuff with content creators that they like and influencers. But like people have been misinformed about video games since video games existed. You know, like, like I mean, like the console wars and forums about people bitching about games that were coming, like people bitching about exclusives coming to other consoles that they didn't even own, and being like, well, that game sucks because it's on PlayStation. Fuck you, and like you know, like and just like rattling off talking points. I mean, fucking like the biggest example I can see at the moment is like Forza Horizon 6 when that like previews came out. The amount of vitriol that came out about that game and there were people going, oh, the roads are too wide and it's not accurate enough to Japan. And like, it was the same thing that people were trotting out. People who like live in Japan seem pretty fucking excited about it. I'm excited about it. Like, it looks really cool.
As always.
And it's like, it's not even an exclusivity argument anymore because that's going to come to PlayStation. So like, what the fuck's going like I think people just like, again, there's also the disingenuous thing around like, obviously engagement bait, rage baiting is obviously a thing. There's an incentive to do that and be controversial.
It sells, it sells well too.
Yeah, and you have to remember something like Forza. They're putting all of these landmarks within driving distance of each other. You could go to Ayers Rock or whatever in Forza Horizon 3 or whatever, and then you know,
it's not a video game. Reality. It's a fucking video game. Exactly.
Exactly. So you know.
Yeah. I just. This is nothing new. I think is my point is that like this has been since people have had opinions on media, people have been uninformed. Media, okay, first of all, literacy in general is at an all-time low. Media literacy is even worse. Like,
it is.
I don't trust anyone when it comes to opinions on video games. I don't know why anyone listens to this podcast. If you listen to any of my reviews or how I feel about video games, I'm gonna have a take about a game that I know Cameron is going to disagree with, and we're gonna have a fight about it. In about 30 minutes from now. So, like, it's...
And we know which one's right.
Yeah, exactly. We know who's right. I'm not going to say. I'm just going to heavily imply it.
Yep.
But, like...
And it's heavily weighted on how much you're carrying, too, in the multiplayer.
Exactly. But I think that, you know, everyone's experience is different. And I can understand being annoyed that some people are just like, well, I didn't experience this thing, but this person told me about it, so that's going to be my default opinion. Human psychology is like the first touch point that you have with something will color your experience forever. And it is really, really hard to change it. If someone tells you something bad about someone before you meet them and then you meet them and it turns out not to be true, it takes a lot to change that. Like people talk about like first impressions matter. They really, really fucking do. And if someone's first impression from a game,
instinctual human thing,
exactly, like it's human behavior. You can't get around it. And if someone puts out a review saying that this game is a 1 out, like this, like the whole marathon thing, we're like, well, Marathon is a terrible, terrible game, and everyone hates it, and it's going to be a huge failure. Then in most people's minds, that's going to be true until something really, really compelling changes their mind, if it can even do that, and if they're open to having their mind changed. Anyway. And then this last one here, I'll just quickly says, Halo Studios is apparently actively developing a Halo 2 and 3 remake. Not even like, oh, we're just in the planning phase. Like, they're working on it. Like, they've now, even before the Halo 1 remake comes out, they've already started on Halo 2 and 3.
No surprise.
No, yeah, again, no surprise. They've built this engine. They're doing the Unreal thing. It seems like the smart move. Like, obviously, the Master Chief Collection is kind of its own thing, but now that we're running on this Unreal Engine thing, and they've been building up to the new Halo, where this comes out, who the fuck knows? Maybe they do one a year, where it's like Halo 1 this year, Halo 2 next year. Probably not, but who knows? I mean, Halo 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. 2007 was a great fucking year. Yeah. Again, like, not confirmed. It is a rumor. It's not. They haven't announced anything, but yeah, no surprise there. All right, Game Pass. Keo, do you want to read through those, please?
Yes, I do. Just give me a second. All right, so joining May 6th, so it is May 10th today. We've had Ben 10 Power Trip, Descenders Next. I've missed some of this stuff. Wildgate. So these are going into the premium tiers for a lot of these as well, because they're already. But Wu Chang is good to finally see that there too. I think because we never had that before, did we?
Oh no, I did. It's on Ultimate.
It was on Ultimate?
Yeah,
oh, I missed that then.
Did that a couple of weeks ago.
Missed that too. And Mixtape seems pretty good for people too. You guys are getting through that pretty quickly. Yep. Outbound on May 11th. May 12th, Black Jacket. May 12th again. Call of the Elder Gods. Elite Dangerous is back. Mm-hmm. Doom Dark Ages to premium. Subnautica 2's coming out finally, and that's on May 14th, and May 19th for Forza Horizon 6. Also, leaving, we have Galacticare, Go Mecha Ball, Collabra, Souls of the Limbo, Paw Patrol Rescue Wheels, and Planet of Lana. So,
nice.
You guys are on a couple of those leaving so far, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. To say there. And patreon.com/HallOfGamers if you want to help support the show. We greatly appreciate it. All of our extra content goes up there. A huge thank you to Old Mate Clown, Cavaliero7, Hack and Pone, Kung Fu Skills, Happy Moogles, Natolinator, Lee Howard, Left Legacy, and Venoms AU. We literally couldn't afford to do the show without you guys. You help pay for things like hosting the show and having that on Buzzsprout, and also for like our new music that we put in the other week and that kind of stuff. So we always really appreciate that. And if there's other stuff you want to be seeing on there, we've been knocking around some ideas for doing some bonus podcasts. We joked about doing like a sort of like retro throwback to like old school stuff. Maybe watching some old E3s or something like that. I don't know. I haven't quite figured it out. But
oh no, all unk. Yeah.
Yeah. All unks. So thank you for that. The Bimestral Burden, Keo, what do we got going on there?
So, 2 monthly theme, Bimestral Burden. We have May and June, one and done. So, play games that are completely standalone. That means no prequels, sequels, or spin-offs. And, that means it means not spin-off adjacent either. So, yeah. So
we can argue about that in the Discord.
We can, yes, yeah. There was a couple of good ones thrown around in there, though. I don't remember what they are, but there was a bit of fun conversation with this one. So,
excellent. All right. Well, let's get into what we've been playing. We'll go around the horn. We'll do a game each. I'll start.
Yeah.
I went through Kalubra in the Souls of Limbo. Been playing that as it's leaving Game Pass. I put this on my play later list when it first came out as like it's a point and click adventure style game with a really nice art style. Has that sort of Paper Mario cutout art style that looks really, really nice. Relatively simple game in terms of its construction, but the idea is that you are a bright soul who has ended up in limbo. You don't really have any memories. But one of the curses of limbo where you are after you've died is that every day you lose your memory, or at least most people do. You, thankfully, keep yours due to whatever, something about you, your bright soul. And so the idea is that you need to try and help people move on from limbo by solving their problems, but also realizing that they're going to forget that you've helped them the day before, unless you do significant things to try and like, in this sort of time thing where it's like you can change the time stream to, it's effectively like a time loop mechanic without actually having a time loop mechanic, because the days do progress. And so what you do is you kind of help them solve their problems, and by doing significant things, it changes their patterns and they remember more things each day. It's called like soul marking. And so the first one, for example, is there's a girl who wants to leave and go off on her adventure because she runs a flower store with her mother, and she wants to go. Her dad left years ago, and she wants to try and go find him in the big city. And so she's like, "Cool, my mom will let me leave here if we sell the last 3 flowers that we have, and we can close the store and I can move on." But it's like, cool. I need to sell these all by tomorrow. But of course, tomorrow never actually happens because they forget the day that they're on. So they've been running this day over and over and over again. And because whoever would come up and buy the flowers would forget about it as well, you're the only person who can try and convince them to sell you the flowers. So you kind of need to like do some puzzle solving to figure out like, okay, cool, how do I get to this thing? How do I like, oh, there's some, I need to like build some fertilizer, or I need to like find a key, or I need to talk to these people and learn this information. And so it's that kind of like time loop mechanic thing where you're in a set area, learn things about it, use those things to shortcut things, or find keys to open doors to keep them open. I really liked it. It was good. It definitely gets a bit up its own ass around the story. Like it starts off with quite a simple kind of thing where it's like, okay, you don't really know who you are, but you're just trying to help people. And then it turns into this big monolithic thing where there are other bright souls fighting each other. And like the sort of stories of each of the sort of characters or set characters you're helping per chapter are quite good, but the overarching narrative kind of falls apart towards the end. I know they added an epilogue DLC that kind of explains a bit more about it, but it ends on kind of okay, what is this? Like, all right, whatever. So I was kind of like disappointed in kind of where it went, and it wasn't like, I was kind of invested in the story and just kind of didn't really go anywhere. But mechanically, it's quite simple. It's a relatively easy completion, like maybe like 7-8 hours. There aren't really a lot of guides, but you don't really need them. There are like 25 collectibles, but you can get them after you finish the game, because again, the game, it's just like 5 different areas that you go to, and you can just go back and collect things. Or there's also like little side quests where it's like little spirits who have like one simple problem, where it's like, oh hey, I'm a magician and I've been trapped. My trick went wrong and I'm stuck in a safe. I need you to help me get out of the safe. You get them out of the safe, like, cool, thanks. And then like, cool, I'm ready for my magic show. And then they vanish because their unfinished business is solved. So it's like, it's quite funny. It's got a good sense of humor about it as well. You meet, you go to a bar and you're a snake, right? So you go to a bar and you meet your uncle who is a snakeskin boot. And it's again, like there's like, it's relatively well written and quite funny. And like, I like the characters, and it's very like larger than life. So I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's one of those ones that I'm glad that I got to before it left Game Pass. Kia, what's something you've been working on?
Speaking of Brotato, before I went and completed that last achievement that was unknown, it's just worth a quick mention that it is really, really quick. You can just load the game up. All you have to do is go into a run that has like the wood planks as your main weapon. Collect 6 of them. So just go through the levels and just when you're buying stuff at the shop, just pass on everything until you get 6, and then it unlocks like a bunch of stuff, like 2 or 3 of the character pieces that you need. Start a new run and do the same thing but with slingshots. Get 6 slingshots, and then you unlock like another 2 character piece things that you need for the Paws and Claws update. The only other thing you have to do is it's kind of like 20 items on the ground during a level, and then that unlocks like the final thing, and then that unlocks the Beastmaster, which lets you play that character, and then you just have to do a run with that character.
So it's like
And that's it.
an hour, maybe?
It's like I was waiting for Todd to do a cutscene in Monster Hunter so I could join him in a mission, loaded it up, and unlocked the character, and then just spent 20 minutes doing the because it's like a minute a level or something. So yeah, very very quick. Not that like half an hour. So
yeah. Easy.
Yeah,
easy peasy.
Shane, you got something?
I knocked out Abiotic Factor.
Oh yes, I saw you were actually
awesome.
surprisingly close to the end after last.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we finished the podcast. I went to sleep, woke up, and it took an hour. I was so close to being done. I thought I thought I had more, and then on top of that, I thought getting the final fish would be a little more challenging or take more time. Nah, that all took real fast. So, nice, easy end to a pretty awesome game. I can't recommend that one enough to anybody. If you like a cool sense of exploration and discovery, fantastic. They nailed it. And I'd be shocked if I don't come back. It sounds like they have big plans for, especially like the main narrative it ended but didn't. There's still a lot of hanging threads, so I'd be shocked. I mean, I guess it depends if they add achievements. If they don't,
sure.
I'm not sure if I'll come back, but maybe. Very cool game though, and nothing's missable, which is always nice. You can just explore and play that game to your heart's content. My final completion was 100 hours based according to Xbox/TA. I don't think that's true. I just finished editing my final video, and I more or less recorded every time I played that game, and the math ain't mathin'. So I gotta do a little more. Let's do some math. I think I'm probably closer to the 80-90 hour mark than full on 100, but yeah, still a sizable commitment. So,
but you also took your time with that.
But I was playing for. Oh yeah, I was having a lot of fun. I was doing way more than was necessary. So.
So yeah, I've been gaming with a capital G this week because like I've been like really digging into stuff, being like it's been a while. I kind of talked about Hades for a couple of weeks in a row, and I've been playing like Final Fantasy 12, and I was like, I need to play some smaller, more interesting, like completable stuff that we have to talk about. And so I jumped on Aphelion, which is the latest Don't Nod game. The makers of
Speaking of day ones I almost played.
Yeah, Life is Strange and Vampire and Remember Me and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's important to call out those other games because this is much more like their other games than it is Life is Strange. So the premise is that you are a pair of astronauts who are going to a moon called Persephone, which is a planet that they think might be able to house human life. They've detected some sort of energy source there that they want to try and harness and use because the world is basically going through global warming and climate change and an energy crisis. Ripped from the headlines. The year is like 2060, so we got a couple of years yet. So you kind of crash land, you're separated, and so the chapters kind of alternate. You play between the two characters. One of them is a very... the woman that you play as, she's French. English is very clearly her second language, and her performance is rough. All the line delivery is not good. And maybe it's just me, because I'm like, I haven't seen this complaint anywhere else, but the performances in this, actually, both characters are not very good. And I feel bad saying that, but the idea is that she plays like we're doing like the new Tomb Raider games, where it's climb a lot of ledges, do grappling hook swings, talk to yourself constantly, even though it makes no sense, and solve very, very simple puzzles and then also a little bit of stealth, like a tiny bit of stealth in certain sections. None of it's super well put together. The story is pretty thin. It definitely has hey, you better read all these text logs and listen to these audio logs if you want to understand what the hell's going on, because like cutscenes are not going to tell you anything because the characters don't have anyone to interact with because they're just by themselves. On the other side, the guy is he's supposed to be British, but the way he says mate, I'm like, that's not a British man. That is a guy pretending to be a British person.
Hi, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of. It's that kind of, like the performances are bad, in my opinion. he is injured during the crash, so he can't climb. So his a lot of stuff is he's also he's got like a hole in his suit, so he's leaking oxygen. So you're going from like oxygen supply to oxygen supply, trying to solve again more basic puzzles, hide from certain enemies as stuff or like environmental stuff. What they discover on this again, I don't want to spoil anything because it is a story-based game because there isn't really a lot to it. It is essentially a walking simulator. The puzzles are almost non-existent. The stealth gets more interesting towards the end of the game, where it gets a little bit more complex. But honestly, I didn't enjoy this game, unfortunately. You know, like I like Don't Nod, but there's so little to it, and the narrative was just not interesting enough, and the way the story was told, or the performances didn't carry it in a way that I was like, again, like there's no decision making stuff. There's no dialogue trees. There's none of that. There's none of the Life is Strange kind of stuff. It is a linear narrative it's a linear walking simulator with collectibles and occasional environmental things you need to get around.
And I see it's a budget title, so that might explain it.
Yeah, it definitely feels budget, like really, like unfortunately, really budget. It maybe feels like they bit off a bit more than they can chew. It's also not a very long game though. It's only like 11 chapters. If you get all the collectibles in your first run through, you'll probably get it done in about 7 hours, maybe 7 or 8.
Ooh, okay.
But definitely keep up a collectible guide for that because there's chapter select, but the chapters are like a bit of a pain because you're just kind of slogging your way through them. So if you miss something at the end of a chapter, it's going to be a pain in the ass to get to it. I missed one collectible because you need to use your electro scanner on these certain like electro anomalies, but you also need to scan them with your viewfinder first. And I did them.
That's what that was.
Yeah, so there's a whole thing where it's like you see, it's a structure, and like marks it off on your map so you can see it, and then it's like, but also there's a collectible in the structure. And I one of them halfway through the game, like chapter 4, I scanned the collectible and I got the electro marker, but I forgot to do the actual like structure marker, so I had to play through it again and just kind of tick through them. Not a big deal. Took me like an extra hour or so. It was a bit of a pain, but it's fine. The rest of the achievements are relatively straightforward. There's a couple of like, distract this thing 10 times or fall off a cliff 20 times or whatever. Stuff that you can really easily grind out later if you need to. But yeah, I was just like, it's like a 6 out of 10, unfortunately. Like I was kind of hoping for a bit more. It didn't have to be a huge 10 out of 10 game, but like I like Don't Nod's narrative chops usually. But yeah, this was kind of not it. It felt like it was missing a significant element of an actual game to it.
An actual game. Ouch.
Yeah. Kia, what about you?
Yeah, last weekend I was in a bit of a weird spot where I was just jumping around and just kind of just trying to find something. So I ended up landing on just like a couple of tiny little games that were just gifted to me, like over the years. One of those is called Rootin'. R-O-O-T.
Rootin' Tootin'.
Yeah, Rootin' Tootin'. And it's just like three people have played it. It's from like 2022, and it's just like you start in a forest, and it's got a day-night cycle. And at the end of the night cycle, you basically by default get sent back to your cabin, basically. But you pretty much just walk around the forest for 6 days until you die. Spoilers.
All right.
But you have to do that. They've got a thing called the cycle. So if you don't do like the 1 or 2 things to randomly get the ending somehow, there's 2 different endings, apparently. I've seen both of them, but the second one I got was basically go to the same spot and speak to a different character. But it didn't seem like there was any conditions that I met that was different.
So just random.
That other ending. So it's like, did I just have to do this 2 or 3 times? Or is there something along the way where I just saw something differently for it to happen? But it was interesting because it is kind of like a tiny little horror thing where the forest changes over those 5 days and you can access different areas and more areas unlock. And you just basically walking through it to the new area. And then there's a couple of shortcuts along the way to get to those areas quicker. But yeah, so there's not really much to say about it. The thing that I really had to do more than once was get to day 3, quit the game so it saved my game, and then load it back up, and then try to defeat a bear that was just super awkward to kill with like an axe, and that was it. But for the most part, you don't have to kill anything, really. So you could just walk around the forest and then die. It's the next day, you walk around again, and then you either die or make it to the end of the day. It's weird, but that was fun. So it took up way too
weird
much
ones like that.
Exactly. It was just like they had a couple of cool ideas. There's a little bit of a quirk in the, I guess, this art style or something, but there's nothing to it. So, but yeah, that's that.
Shane, you got another one?
Oh, next it was time to duel. I went to Yu-Gi-Oh! And finished that up. That game sucked.
Yep.
I don't like Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. I don't know why I keep playing them. Or card games in general. They just tick me off.
What about if
I
they're
play
on
Marvel Snap
motorcycles?
all the time at work.
Does that make them better?
Was that a thing?
Card games on motorcycles? That was like Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 3 or whatever it was, the third. They were like, hey, this series isn't crazy enough, so now we're going to do it on motorcycles.
All right, whatever you say. I don't know what you're talking about. Either way, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! It's cards. The two hard achievements you're going to be working on would be to beat the two main characters of the anime. It's randomly choosing who you face in the finals, so that's fun. You can quit out if you think you're gonna lose, or you do lose, and then just go back to the match in the tournament you're in. So that makes it more manageable. But man, there were just so many times where I would jump into a fight, especially against. So the two characters are Yusei Futo or something like that. I guess that he's the main character because it sounds like Yugi Moto.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Jack Atlas, who he had blue eyes, white dragons. So I'm assuming he's the a-hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would start the match. I'd go first. I'd put out my little card I have. He'd go, and suddenly he would have 3,000 attack power dragons, and I would just over and over again. It was so frustrating. Could I have played legitimately and built a deck and got the... Of course I could have, but screw that. I'm trying to get the achievements. So I beat him with the default deck with very minor changes out of the few cards I'd gotten over my other wins. And yeah, it came down to just having the perfect set of circumstances, the perfect set of cards, and it's a match, not a battle. So I have to beat him 2 out of 3 times. And if I quit out, it erases all that. So I have to do it 2 out of 3 times. And it was so frustrating. I don't know why I do this to myself. Magic's the same way. All these card games, I play Marvel Snap at work for fun, and it still ticks me off because I'll need 1 card to win, and I just don't draw it. And it's just, I don't know why I do it to myself. But I finished it. It's done. It ended with some grindiness. There's like do 1 million damage overall. And what was the other one? Win 200 matches. I pulled up water on the other account and my alt account and just did all that I needed to. Made a super strong deck with nothing but high power monster cards and just over and over again for a few hours. It wasn't that bad, but it's done. So yay. Heart of the Cards. Cool. To the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, that
nerds.
Yeah, playing through what was it, the Dual Link one or whatever the hell it was, and doing the stack for that. I did the stack for that a while back, and I was like, why did I do this? Why did I do this twice? This is just like
I think that's the one after that, isn't it? Because I think the one I just did is the first Yu-Gi-Oh game with achievements, and then they released another one that I believe was cross-platform.
Yeah, which I think actually goes through like the whole story of anyway.
Yeah, Legacy of the Duelist or whatever.
That's the one. Yeah. Oof. So I have 2 more games. One that I started was Hell Is Us. So this went on sale, 60% off. So great time to pick it up. This is the AA one from Rogue Factor. It's a very interesting game in a way that I like interesting new experiences. Came out last year. Don't think it won too many awards or anything, but I think here's the plot. You are an orphan from a war-torn Eastern European country that has a huge civil war between 2 ethnic factions. basically the whole place is closed off. They're not part of the UN Charter, or they have like they have the ON peacekeepers in there trying to help them. But you basically are trying to go back and try and find your family after they kind of shipped you off in a truck and helped you escape as a child. When you get there, you find out that that all the horrific violence has opened up some sort of rift in this place due to some ancient history with some like I don't know, like I don't want to say like Cthulhu-esque, but like that kind of thing where it's like creatures without faces are attacking everyone, and in the middle of these two big factions fighting each other, there's like horrific like otherworldly entities coming in and destroying everyone due to some sort of time loop thing where they've conducted some sort of ritual. There's an ancient civilization that this whole country was built on that is like has like 4 different emotional aspects of like ecstasy, terror, rage, and I can't remember the last one. But the idea is that all these creatures are based on these 4 aspects. What that functionally means is it is a modern-ish day Dark Souls, like more like sort of like early 2000s, 90s kind of vibe where it's like people have laptops but they're big, bulky fucking things. You drive around an APC that looks kind of high-tech, but also like you're in an Eastern European country that's quite dilapidated. And so you get these weapons called limbic weapons. There's like 5 different ones. There's like a sword, a great sword, axes. And you level them up and imbue them with one of those 4 different aspects to do different kinds of like damage. And you need to go around and try and figure out what happened to your parents, why, like, where these entities have come from, and kind of what's going on in the kind of overall, like, what's happening below the surface. The kind of plot of this game is that you are strapped to a chair, injected with truth serum, and on a polygraph with some weird motherfuckers talking to you, taking you through the events of what happened. So clearly this is like flashback thing, classic Prince of Persia, telling a story. Whenever you die, the guy's like, clearly you didn't die at this point. You're clearly too high on these drugs. Go back and tell me what actually happened. It's a really interesting concept. It has this sort of Dark Souls combat. You have a health bar, you have a stamina bar. You can do parries. It's got a like interesting sort of meta narrative around like kind of like what's kind of happening in this world, and like there's a lot of rich history, and they've obviously thought about this out quite a bit. If you wanted me to explain what the plot was, though, I'm kind of not really. It's very like interpretive in the same way that Dark Souls is, right? It takes a lot of cues from Dark Souls in that there are no maps, there's no markers. You get a compass, and you get sometimes the people will tell you about directions or landmarks, and you need to figure that shit out. You have a good mental map. Occasionally, you'll find like paper maps that will like have a drawings on them, so you can kind of get, like do reference stuff. But there's none of the like niceties of modern game development here. I'm in Act 2 of I think 3 acts, so I'm maybe about halfway through the game. I'm about 10 hours in, I think. Again, I'm not 100% sure. There's a good collectible guide on power picks that you should be using because there's a lot of missable stuff. I'm enjoying it so far. It's I think my only real issue with it is that the enemy design and like the actual combat of the game is a bit too simple. Like it gives you a lot of powers and abilities in terms of like you have like a drone that does like you can create a shield for you or distract enemies or charge you through enemies, and then you also get powers on your sword and abilities that you use like glyphs. So you kind of have like quite a variety of abilities that are on cooldowns, but you're fighting just like the same kinds. Like there's like maybe like 5 types of enemies, and they're all variations of some white-looking creature, like humanoid creature with no face. And then occasionally there's they have like a floating drone-style entity that you have to fight to deal damage to that before you can hit the regular enemies. And that's it. Like I fought 1 boss fight the entire game. I was actually going to come on here and complain that there were no boss fights in this game until I found 1.
Ooh.
We'll see if there are any more, but it's just I think it's a really interesting game, and I'm like, it has a variety of environments and a scope and a scale that I was not expecting from a game from a smaller developer. So I think this is kind of like a bit of a hidden gem. Like I think I'm hoping more people will play this, and I think it definitely has like a cult appeal that I think people will really, really enjoy.
I need to look at some screenshots because I think I know what game you're talking about, and some of the journalists I follow were definitely like, "Hey, this was pretty cool. People should have paid attention to this more."
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah.
It also came out like the same week as like Hollow Knight Silk Song, so like it was kind of, they were kind of fucked, and the developer even came out and said it was like, yeah, it's kind of fucked that they did that. But yeah, definitely worth checking that out. It's 60% off at the moment for the base edition. So it was like, I think it was like $40 New Zealand or whatever. So it's like, it's pretty affordable. It'd be like, I think like 20 US or whatever, 25 maybe. So definitely worth a look. Really, I'm hoping more people play this because I think that it definitely has some, like, it is definitely like an old school throwback to the 360 days of Dark Souls. Very little like narrative, like again, like a lot of implied stuff, a lot of reading, and like old school style game development, which has like, it's got its pros and its cons, but it's just nice to see games like this still get made. You can also play it on easy. Also, just there's no difficulty achievements, so it has a thing where it's like it's not overly challenging. There's like sliders in terms of like how difficult you want to make the game, so you can make it like there's no penalty for dying, or you can make it so the enemies are less aggressive. So it's very it's like surprisingly accessible for a game that also doesn't have a fucking mini map or markers. So yeah, so that's been a big one that I've been playing. Kia, you got any more?
I have a couple more as well, but I'm barely into them. I am making progress on Clover Pit,
Oh yeah,
which is good. I've been playing that a little bit, so I've unlocked. This is mostly for Kirby's sake, but I've unlocked the third drawer. I have one more drawer to lock, and I've unlocked the memory cards for modifiers as well now, which is really good as well. So I'm starting to see how that all kind of works into it. But you get it for. You go through the routine of like doing the gambling thing with the slot machine, right? But there are so many times that you just don't get any lines
you just don't get
at
what you
all.
need. Yeah,
You don't get any lines, like, so you really have to, like, for the first couple of sets, just double down on the like, you've got two options when you set up like the slot machine run. You can do like pay more money, get more, but you only get one like ticket for the charm machine, right? But if you pay less and have less runs, you get two tickets. So you really need to set up your charms at the start, do the get more tickets for more charms, and then try and get a good run out of that. And then you get your modifiers and your multipliers and all that kind of stuff really stacked up. I'm only really like getting into the intricacies of that. so that's pretty early on still, because I'm only playing it like at night before I go to sleep or whatever. So, but that's it's been good. It's the main game that I'm kind of going back to fall asleep to. So, which is like Balatro, right? So, yeah. But yeah, anything else you guys want to bring up before?
I got
one more.
I got one big one. Shane, do you have anything else?
Yeah.
I just have one more. I've only gotten to play a little bit. This has been a weird week, so I started playing Lana, so I can knock that out before at least Game Pass. It's really pretty. The only issue was the don't dying, which is why I had never touched it. But apparently there's a way to cheese it, and so I'm currently working my way through it. I've only died like once, and it was a stupid mistake because I was following the guide and it said something about going to the left, and I went to the left and just fell off a cliff, whereas it was telling me not to do that. So, but I quit out quick, and otherwise I'm on. I just found a spaceship thing I climbed, and then the screen went black, and I turned it off for the night. So, it's really cool. It's a really pretty game. I'm looking forward to finishing it up. If everything goes right and that achievement pops what it needs to, that's gonna be hopefully it. And I can go do that. I want to do the Calimbra one.
Yes, yeah, definitely do that. Yeah. Lefty says, "Wait, I'm on chapter 6 and I haven't died. Is it actually going to get hard?" No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's not.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too bad.
Like there's a couple of bits where I was like, I get kind of annoyed, where it's like, oh, I got to do this thing really quickly, and I'm just not quick enough. But most of my deaths were stupid shit. And Planet of Lana 2, which is also on Game Pass, doesn't have the no death achievement, so I've got that, and I've played a little bit of that. And then the last thing I played, which is I just started last night to basically smashed the whole thing in one sitting, was Mixtape, which is the latest from the...
So good.
So this is published by Annapurna Interactive, to give you an idea of the kind of caliber of stuff we're talking about here, and made by the same people who made The Artful Escape, which was that fantastic side-scrolling platformer with all the guitar stuff and the amazing style, but kind of just okay gameplay. This is, in that same vein, not much of a game. I'll say that up front. There is not a lot of game here to be had. This is an experience. It's not even a walking simulator. It is a series of vignettes, about 30 of them or so, very short kind of little gameplay things set to some amazing licensed tracks. Each of them usually has like an achievement attached to them, and it's just basically the plot is that there's 3 teens. It's their last night together. They've graduated high school. They're looking to move on with their lives. One of them is sticking around town. One of them is getting ready for a road trip to college. And one of them is going on an insane journey to fly to New York to try and run into a music producer at a coffee shop. And she is going to become she's going to become a music supervisor, which the game explains what that is. And so the idea is, because she just has this innate ability to be able to pick the perfect obscure piece of, not even obscure, but just perfect piece of music for every situation. And so she's curated a playlist for this last day that they're going to have together. And of course it goes wild. It starts with like, okay, cool. We need to find alcohol. We've got a party coming up tonight. We need to sort out this. We run into this issue. Someone's parents get into a big fight with us, so we need to try and break them out. And it's again very surreal. A lot of like flashbacks and like going around a room looking at memories of like, oh, here's my first kiss. It's really weird and awkward. Here's a time. I'm trying to think of some good examples. Here's a time where we were playing softball, and like it's all like surreal stuff where it's like the main character you play as is just kind of like a little bit of a burnout, but one of the other characters is like a softball like superstar in terms of like her parents put her into after school programs. And so there's an achievement for like getting a home run with every single hit, and you just start smashing the ball. And every time you do a home run, the stadium that you're in is, again, it's like just like a diamond turns into a larger and larger stadium with fucking like fighter jets and music, and just has You've Got the Touch by Stan Bush playing in the background.
I was about to say, which song is playing? Yeah,
it's so good. Like from a gameplay perspective, it's very, very simple, and there's not a lot to it. But from a vibes perspective, like I don't think this is a 10 out of 10 game. I think it's maybe a little bit too surface level for what I want. But I was hooked the whole time. I sat down. I was like, I have to play this from beginning to end. Like the dialogue's funny. It's a surreal, nostalgic version of the 90s in a way that, in the way that like Stranger Things, like visual style was very 80s nostalgia vibe. This is like 90s nostalgia. But
oh man,
it's so good. It doesn't really ask a lot of hard-hitting questions, and I feel like maybe I would have liked a little bit more depth from the characters, or a little bit more. It struggles with a lack of conflict in that, movies and narratives are all based on conflict, and like the conflict is very like low level, but a lot of it is implied, and there's a lot of like, a lot of the stuff is like unsaid things, and the ends of eras, and not everything gets wrapped up neatly in a bow. You're like, there's stuff there you're like, oh, this is clearly what should happen in the narrative here, and it just doesn't. Like it has a level of realism to it that is really interestingly at odds with the surrealism of kind of what you're actually doing. And again, I don't want to say too much about it, because like the experience is just like going through each chapter and being like, what crazy shit are just going to throw at us now? I think they kind of learned from The Artful Escape, where they were like, the spectacle and the interesting stuff is great, but the actual platforming and kind of like playing the game is kind of like feels like it didn't really need to be there. And so they just stripped a lot of that stuff out. And they're like, you're just going to experience this game. And like, it has a very like high fidelity in terms of, like the movie High Fidelity, or like Wes Anderson vibe, where the character, like, your main character will turn to the camera, explain the song that they're about to play, where it came from, why they picked it, and why it fits the vibe of what's about to happen, and then turn back to like it's like great asides and just like it's wanky, like it is very wanky and like that kind of stuff. But I fucking loved it, and even some of the stuff like came up that I was like, even there are songs on here that are like on my personal playlists, and I was like, nailed it. Like it's a game that could not be done without licensed music, I think. So.
Which is funny when I saw that people were like, "Why isn't there a streamer mode?" Guys, come on.
It would not work. It would not work. And I'm so glad they managed to get so much. There's like over 20 licensed tracks in this game, which in like video games is unfucking heard of. And there's some fucking bangers in there too. There's some really, really good ones. And again, I don't want to spoil anything about it because like I think that like it is a thing where it's on Game Pass. It's like 3, maybe 4 hours, depending on how good you are with the achievements.
Yeah.
You won't be able to stream it. You can't put it on YouTube. But like, just if you have Game Pass, just go and play it. Download it right now and just play it, and just spend an afternoon playing through it. I know Cameron has some other opinions about it, and we'll probably hear about those next week. But
yeah.
But yeah, that's it for me.
I'm dying to play that one.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, sounds like I haven't played anything like that since like Elite Beat Agents or something with bangers after banger.
Oh yeah, that game had a great soundtrack. Yeah.
Deep pull.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I have to bring it up whenever I can. So I actually started. It's another one on Game Pass. BlazBlue Entropy Effect X. I don't know if you guys have looked into this. It kind of, I guess, got swept under the rug a little bit. But it's like BlazBlue are normally like your, 2D fighters, stuff like that, and the characters have little stories and stuff like that. There's a bit of a world going on there, with it. So it's been around for quite a while. But this is the first time it's had like, I think it's the first like they've actually really done something else with the story. Do you know much about it, Shane?
This is the roguelite one, right? This is the spin-off, non-fighting game one, right?
Yeah.
I saw it on my list because I was going through, because again, it's like, it's a B. So when I scroll through my list, it's like B in alphabetical order. I'm like, oh,
yes,
that's interesting. What is that?
Yes, so it basically, it operates as your 2D side scroller. You've got all the characters from the game, but you have to unlock them through tokens and doing other things you get like 3 tokens or something at the start, and you can unlock 3 characters, which, bear in mind, there are a few linked specifically to achievements to try and unlock those characters first, just for the sake of quickness. They're basically, you have I think they're called like shards of possibility, which are the story elements of those characters, but the whole thing exists as like you're playing as some other entity, like a person of some description that just, they're going into like an animus kind of thing where these shards exist, and then you become the characters from BlazBlue, and then you play as them as the 2D side scroller. It's kind of I haven't seen how the story kind of folds into why that is linked to the characters generally yet, but basically, as you do runs, you'll start to see little stories from the different characters that you've chosen to play as, and there are some key face-offs and stuff like that between the rivalries and stuff like that down the line. But it's basically the roguelike aspect is you can start a run. You've got your standard mode, which you actually can choose modifiers like 50% less damage from enemies, and you take less damage, or it's like, so yeah, there's definitely some accessibility stuff built into the difficulties. And then you've got like the entropy mode and stuff like that, which you have to unlock a lot of those. But so you can kind of start the run how you want, but then you unlock the abilities and stuff as you go for each character. And it's kind of side-scrolling, one room, finish all the enemies in the room, do some wall jumping and platforming and stuff like that, go past some traps, and then it's like a definitive end to the room. And you can choose the next area condition, whether or not it's like an event that gives you other modifiers, and or like basically just moving on and stuff like that. So I'm very, very early in, so it's kind of hard to explain because I haven't got my head around it all. but it's just basically room to room, and there'll basically be it's like chapter one, level 1, 2, 3. So there's obviously like a linear nature to what they're trying to do, but it's kind of random as well. Like all the levels aren't the same. I'm pretty sure it's randomly generated as it goes. But
Archer's roguelite,
I'm not
so
100% on that.
Yeah, it looks really interesting.
Yeah, exactly right. So, but it is super flashy. It feels really nice to play, and the characters are just they move really well, and they all feel like the characters that you're playing from the fighters. So, so it's got a lot going for it. Funny enough, though, I went through to change some of the controls to go and map them to how I wanted them on my arcade stick, and it had Xbox 360 controller as like the head for the controller option. So I'm like, do they just not know that we've moved on, or
No, they don't.
or is this a 25-year-old game built into a?
That's really fun.
No, but yeah. So yeah, but that was just a really quirky little thing in the settings. But if you like the fighting games at all, just go and check it out. Like it'll bring back a lot of the stuff that you probably you enjoy about the series, like the character quirks, all that kind of stuff are in there. So I'd like to talk about it a lot more when I get into it. So, but yeah, for now, yeah, it's really nice. So.
Yeah, it looks good. Look, it has a little bit of definitely flashy. I love the
so flashy colors everywhere. So yeah.
All right. I think that's everything we've been playing.
Yep.
Great. All right, let's move on to the word challenge. Everyone's favorite competition where I managed to get the answer at the last minute, right before someone else guesses it, and ruin the competition for everyone.
Yep.
So the answer for last one was After Image, which thankfully is a game that I played. I was going through my list, or list of TA games. Thankfully, it started with A, because if it started with Z, I never would have got there. But it does mean we have a new challenge. Kirby's come up with a new game. And again, we don't know what it is. Kirby keeps that secret. But he has given us a clue. The first clue is this famous family's cousin sees things from a different perspective. So best of luck. I have no idea what that could be. I'm going to have to do some serious research, but get your guesses into the word challenge on the Discord. If you guess it, you win a prize. You get one guess per hour, and we release a new clue every week. So stay tuned. Over the leaderboards. Keo, do you want to read through those?
Yeah, we have in third place Martel18, who unlocked money bags in Kiln was the last achievement. Thrash Forever. Well, sorry, actually, that was 18,255. Excuse me. Thrash Forever got 23,015. Last one, he's been playing Assassin's Creed Mirage. And Grey Shark has gotten 73,705.
Jesus.
He's been playing Toad Slide, so you can imagine how that's going.
Only quality titles for Grey Shark.
That's why I like to call out the games, right? Because that number one slot's
Give you
always
some
going to be...
perspective, for sure.
Yeah.
Shane, you want to do the completions?
Yeah, it looks like a lot of people completed a few things. Thrash Forever completed Goat Sim Remastered, which I think was leaving Game Pass last bit. Bulbasaur finished up Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection and Samurai Showdown 2. Cobra Todd did Rec Room. Super Bob did Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Oof, I need to get to that one. Professor Pluto did Prince of Persia The Lost Crown. Vex173 did Grounded. Dragframe did Starfield. Mad Lefty also did Culebra and the Souls of Limbo. Cameron also did Mixtape. And Regenstein did Planet of Lana.
Nice work, everyone.
Nice.
And I think with that, it's going to pretty much bring us to the end of the show. As always, we do the show live on Twitch. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. Got some great collaboration in the chat this week. Thank you, Lefty and Kirby and others for jumping in. Really always appreciate the support and try to respond to you guys as much as we can. Otherwise, catch us on your podcast platform of choice, either in audio or video form. We do put the VOD up on YouTube if you haven't caught us there. So it's always good to see our beautiful faces. Char does a wonderful thumbnail each week. Keo, anything you want to shill?
Nothing at the moment, but if you go to my true achievement profile, Kill, I have X Home, which is my Xbox tag. You can see my link tree there. You can see some of the stuff that I've done previously.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Shane, what about you?
Yep, firehawkd.com. All my links and such. I'm on YouTube. I stream almost every night. I got all that stuff. A blog that I'm going to be working on here shortly. So, all kinds of fun stuff. Nice. I'm always busy.
And I'm Neomaster.
I need something else.
Sorry, what?
I was just going to say, I need something else to read on the toilet. Yes, thanks for that.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
And I'm Neomaster on everything, True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord as always. A huge thank you to my wonderful co-hosts, the wonderful co-hosts who couldn't join us this week, and our Patreons for helping making this show possible. That's been episode 212. We'll catch you guys next week. See you later.
Peace. Adios.